Okay, rather than make you come in twice in December, we decided it would be better just to make a short video to go through the things we would have said if we didn't have a snow day at our Science NHS meeting that we were supposed to have on Monday, the 26th of November. So here's what we got. These are our topics. We're going to talk about Science Day, the dues payments, the forms for activities people have been asking, and about the upcoming activities that we're going to do this December and January and maybe a little longer. First, I want to talk about Science Day. Those of you who were there saw it was amazing. You all did a terrific job. There's a few pictures of you hard at work. There were lots of you, I mean dozens of you hard at work, whether it was selling Uncrustables or whether it was helping kids with the tanks or whether it was blowing stuff up. It was really terrific. There were about 200, over 200 kids, more kids than we've ever had. Lots of people came up to me to say many great things about all of you and how incredible it was. A professor of chemistry came up to say that it was amazing that the things that you were doing were things that she did with her chemistry students in college. So I mean, she was very impressed with all of you and thought that it was terrific. And again, I was impressed. I thought you did a wonderful job, and again, I'm proud of all of you. And if you didn't see, some of you were pictured in the District 207 newsletter that came out last month, so that was kind of nifty. Dues. Okay, some of you tried to pay these before the actual meeting was, or before you actually inducted, which was great, but I told you not to, okay? But now I need you to, we both need you to pay them in the bookstore. They cover things like some of our field trip fees, some of our costs, and they definitely cover the costs of all those little doodads that we give out at graduation. They need to be paid by December 9th. It's $15 for the year. And if you don't pay them by December 9th, the secretary will be contacting you to let you know that you need to pay them. Again, it's not a ton of money, and if you get a fee waiver, you can talk to the people in the bookstore, and they will cover you for this as well. In terms of Science National Honor Society activities, people have been asking about this too, those of you who are new members especially. Okay, you need 6 activities to remain active. Okay, there are 3 categories you have to have the activities in. You have to have some sort of school science activity. Some of those are like Science Olympiad, if you do the autonomous vehicle, Rube Goldberg, stuff like that. Some kind of science activity where you're doing some science. And you'll have plenty of opportunities to do that sort of thing. We're going to talk about one pretty soon that you can take part in. A community-based science activity, like earlier this year we went to Northwestern to go to their observatory. We have some other ones coming up. We have some field trips. We have some virtual field trips, some talks with scientists. Those count for that. And a science service activity. Okay, Science Day, volunteering for science help, those sorts of things. Okay. If you didn't do Science Day, you're going to need to find a science service activity because you need to have one in each category. And just like all the things at Science NHS, almost none are required. You choose them. Those of you who did Science Day really knocked off a big one off of your calendar. But if you didn't do that one, you'll have to choose one of those activities to do. And again, those aren't all the things you can do. There's a bunch of others. Okay. Now, if Science NHS sponsors it, like you did Science Day, you don't need to fill out a form. We know you were there and we have it in a list. Okay. If it's not sponsored by Science NHS, for example, there were a couple people that went to that Women in Engineering down at U of I. Okay, you need to have a form completed. Okay. You may do some of these things with your parents. If you can have someone other than your parent do it, some other sponsor who's there, that would be ideal to have them sign it. If worst case scenario, your parent has to sign it, that's fine. But we prefer it if you can have a non-parent sign it. Okay. When you complete it, turn it in to Mr. Fraker or Mr. Samita, just we need a copy of it. And they all have to be turned in, and all the activities have to be completed by March 1st if you want to count toward your induction for this year. Even if you've been accepted for the year, if you haven't completed your 6 activities, and that doesn't include meeting attendance, okay, that's a separate thing, okay, then you will not be inducted. You won't be invited to go to the induction in March. So make sure you do that. In terms of new activities, we have a whole bunch. First one is the autonomous vehicle competition. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because we needed 6 people, and we got all 6 people, all seniors, and we're excited about having them. They're going to be competing at the Museum of Science and Industry in April, and they're one of the teams that was already selected, so that is exciting. Again, if you can't do it this year, keep it in mind for next year. We have the Rube Goldberg competition. Davis Parks is heading that up. We're going to have a meeting for that. For people who are interested in being a part of it, we're going to have a meeting next Monday, December 3rd. It's a short one. It'll just be at 3:30 in B107. So make sure you're there. Davis has also provided a short video about last year's Rube Goldberg if you want to see what it's about. Again, last year we had there were 24 teams, and we were 6th among them. We'd only worked on it for a couple of weeks. We think with a few more weeks and some more hands on deck and a little more time and thought, we can really put together something special and get a chance to compete in that national competition that they really want to do. The third one here is a good one for especially people who are looking for some kind of science activity but might not have time to commit to something like Science Olympiad. Flew near you, we're thinking about having actually surveying the entire school. There's a giant flu database that they have set up for figuring out what people have the flu, what people don't, and they're looking for people to gather data. And it'd be really cool if we get data from like the thousands of people that are here at our school to contribute to their database. We're going to look at how to do that. We'll set up some meetings for that. We're thinking about doing that in like January and February when people are more likely to have the flu, so we can take data during that time. We're going to have a Fermilab trip in January, and we want to put all that stuff together too. We're going to start with that, and we'll put that information out probably in the next week or so. And there's some web conferences with scientists. We got a electrochemist who did some amazing research. We're talking to some other people as well. And there's some other stuff coming up too. And if you have ideas, make sure you send them to Mr. Fraker at dfraker@maine207.org or Mr. Sumida at psumida@maine207.org. We'd love to hear your ideas. And next meeting, it is Monday, December 10th, which is a week from this coming Monday. It'll either 7 in the morning or 3:30 in the afternoon. You don't have to go to both, you just have to go to one. We look forward to seeing you then.